we opened in 2009, the largest recession that the United States had ever felt. And in Las Vegas, you got to realize we had, besides Detroit, the second largest collapse of housing. And this is when I decided to say, let's open Herbs and Rye. Fucking brilliant.
And honestly, that recession spared no one, myself included. I mean, it was brutal. It was nasty.
I mean, the neighborhood that I lived in was 112 homes, of which 94 of them went vacant.
Wow.
It wasn't a joke. It hit hard. I mean, you got to realize the Bellagio was giving out rooms at $20. A lot of people don't remember that. It was like $20 or $40. Yeah. Downtown was free. You could stay
you were
down,
gaming.
You were gaming.
If you're gaming, you could
downtown
stay
was free.
Downtown.
I mean, it was bad. I mean, street performers turned into robbers. Like, it was bad. It turned into the Wild West. And when we opened up, everything was going for us mentally. We were mentally prepared. I had one of the strongest people in my life by me, which was G Money. He is a heartbeat of Herbs and Rye, and really why we're open today. Not me, but
you want to talk about the electrocution story?
So no, not right now. So when we opened up, it sounded like a good fucking idea. Let's open up. Short story long, but long story short. We opened up Herbs and Rye 2009. The economy had crashed. I had a pretty strong budget for what I did, but we built everything ourselves. We hired no outside labor, no contract, no nothing. So everything you see in that place was built by myself, a guy named Eric Uri, and Joella, his beautiful wife. Her mother hung the wallpaper at the restaurant. My brother Eddie built whatever was broke. My father fixed the air conditioners, the swamp coolers, and Mike Washington and chiseled tiles. And we did everything. We did shit that we didn't even know. We put the towels up in the bathroom. I don't do towel. Like, not only do I not do towel, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But we did it, and in all this midst of building Herbs and Rye, and getting through these times and looking around and not seeing cars drive up and down the road that you're at, and going to bars that are number one in your city and they're empty, and here we are off of Sahara and Valley View. I mean, let's be honest, we're in the hood. We're not in no nice neighborhood. It's like we're not downtown and we're not on the Strip. Like, we are in the artery of Las Vegas, where there's $1 million homes, and then there's subsidized living, then there's housing projects. It's a tough area. But that same year, my brother got cancer, who was my backbone when it came to anything legal, logistics, and to top it off, he was my best friend. So he had gotten ill that year. We opened up, and people just didn't show up. It wasn't what we thought. I mean, you have this vision, this goal, this dream, and all you want to do is express it to other people. We knew if we could get people through the doors, they'd come back, but we couldn't get people through the doors. I mean, our servers, Ronnie will tell you the story, and a guy named Luis Avendano, who actually left to go into the Air Force, but he would stand on Sahara, the main road, and hand out paper flyers until they got their first table. They would go 2-3 days with no tables, and they wouldn't leave. Wow. They believed in the vision,
And Ronnie's still there.
Ronnie's still there now. I mean, I remember I told Ronnie one time, I was like, man, this was a year and a half into it. I said, Ronnie, if I could, and he says this to me probably once a week, just to remind me. Like, I'll stand in the service well and just kind of look over everything, and he'll just pat me on the back. He's like, you remember when you told me all I need is $1,000 a day to stay open here? And I would tell him that. That was a year and a half into it. Our first days that we opened up, I remember, we'd bring $365, $400.
Wow.
There's 4 of us working. 4 of us. I mean, we're at 35 people now, I mean, the infantry has grown strong, but it wasn't always like that. I mean, I have people who operate the kitchen now who didn't cash checks and would look at me and say, if you don't make any money, we don't make any money. These are cooks. They don't make tips. I mean, and they got families. They got kids, you know. That's loyalty. That's why we're still open. I mean, I can't explain. I mean, I remember my dad unscrewing light bulbs in the large dining room to save power. You know, I remember one time the breaker box.
Oh man, I left the lights on a couple of weeks ago.
My dad won't let it go.
Lit me up. He lit me up.
There's only one person that yells at the restaurant. It's my dad. You know, and everybody just kind of laughs about it because he just old school Mexican. You know, that's how he is. But you know, going through the grind of that, you know, you have to realize my father, and obviously there's a lot more that goes into what Herbs Open. A lot of it, you know, can't go on record, but my father put his trust into me to open this business and financially backed me as well as myself. I graduated with a 1.0. You know, I graduated, you know, probably last in my class. I graduated with contemporary math. And I'm not proud of
1 plus 1
equals B.
I'm glad you graduated. I didn't.
I remember my dad didn't buy me my cap and gown. He was just like, I'm not buying you a cap and gown. There's no way. If you graduate, oh my God. We in Nevada is last. Like, and my dad was never one to sell me short. I mean, we grew up from hard time. My dad lost his arm when I was 5. And he raised 4 of us. My mom never worked a day in her life. He's a man. Like,
he's tough.
And you got to realize, going through what I went through or what we went through, I didn't have somebody that I could look at and say, hey, Dad, I'm having a hard time. Because my dad would look at me and be like, hard time, motherfucker? I'll show you a hard time. Like, you need to get this. This is going to work. You're going to make it work. And I remember him telling me one time, he was just like, if it wasn't this hard, then what are you going to talk about when you're older? And that's the truth. Like, that's what we're doing now. We're talking about it because it wasn't an easy ride. It wasn't, you know, smooth goings. It was real tough. I don't kick myself in the ass for it. I don't regret any of it. You know, you live and you learn. Hindsight's 20/20. But I mean, we went through it, man. Look. Whenever we get awards or we get anything, I can't express to you how much goes into that for us, for the simple fact that I know what we went through. We were in a bar that opened up and they had success. And I'm not bashing any of the mainstream bars, but a lot of bars, they open up and they're in a big city and they're, you know, and their struggle was, oh yeah, you know, we was kind of tough at the beginning, but like, we really went through it. I mean, I sold my car to pay a payroll. I have a daughter. At that time, I have one daughter. At that time, I had one daughter, and my girl was pregnant with another, and I had to let my house go to pay the bills. You know, I went negative in my account, but we just never gave up. Nobody ever gave up. It wasn't just me. Nobody ever gave up, and that includes my family. Like, and everybody top to bottom. We went through it, but most importantly, we went through it together. And that's why we're still here together.
There's this one story that he told me about it. I believe it was your aunt or your grandmother that day when she noticed you had this look in your eye of determination, and I'm not going to get too much into the story because it's extremely powerful. But it was something that happened, and Nectali just had this look and this strength.
My family sat me down. My family sat me down and said, "When is enough enough?"
Yeah.
And my grandmother was there.
Yeah. And he got up from the table. Long story short, your grandmother said, "Let him go. It's gonna work," because that was the point of what had happened in terms of becoming successful.
Wow.
And then,
she said she had said that's the look his father had when he lost her, or something like that.
Yeah, something to the effect like that.
It was like, he's not gonna give up. So. It is what it is, man. I'm not here to give up, so I don't think anybody is. No. But I mean, at the end of the day, you know, thank God first and foremost that we made it. But you know, blessed in disguise, we're here now, and we're here to make noise.